Hey, sorry about that. I was moving my mic and I forgot that I'd already enabled my sound. Okay, hello everybody. So today I thought I'd talk about tagged template literals. So I'll just give a quick intro to template literals in general because I think those, yeah, it's kind of useful to talk about it from a fundamental standpoint. So I'm gonna make my, I don't know, a dog, and her name is Gemma. That's my dog, and her breed is a Bernedoodle. And yeah, so now we're going to make a template literal. Here it'll be like a greeting equals hello dog.name. You are a dog.breed. Awesome. Here we can just do an expression there. Fine. No, I don't know. Let's greet. There we go. Okay. Hello, Gemma. You are a Bernedoodle. Okay, so that's a basic template literal. Like, this is 99% of the time people are using template literals. It's to do stuff like this, where you don't have to do concatenation. Like before, it'd be console greeting would be hello space plus dog.name. You are a dog.breed. And it was like not a big deal, unless like I want to add just a dot after that. Now I have to plus dot. Like, I mean, it wasn't a huge deal, but it was kind of annoying. The other cool thing about this is I can actually do multiple lines, and so if I want to do another line there, then I get that white space in my string. Whereas if I wanted to do that here, now I have to do, okay, let's do a new line there, and I need a new line right here, and oh, I need another space there, and it's just kind of a mess. So really glad that we have template literals, but there is a lot more to know about template literals than just being able to interpolate values. First of all, a lot of people, I think, don't realize that you don't have to just put a variable in there. You can do any JavaScript expression. So if you haven't spent some time learning JavaScript expressions and being comfortable with JavaScript expressions, then I strongly recommend that you spend some time with it, because it can really make you a more effective JavaScript developer. Also, or more effective using JavaScript. Also with JSX, the curly braces inside JSX, that works very much the same as in template literal. So you do the $curly brace here, and in JSX it's just a plain curly brace. But what goes inside that is any JavaScript at all. It could be literally anything, and as long as it's a expression. And so here we could do another template literal, and then we can break out. So you can break out of string mode into JavaScript mode and then back into string mode, just like you can do with JSX. And so here we can do hey, and then, you know, like just all kinds of stuff that you can do in here. We could also do a arrow function here that is a self-invoking arrow function. And so like within that, you can do anything that you want to. Normally you don't want to do a whole lot of stuff in here because I think it's harder to read, but it's just really important to understand that this curly brace lets you enter into JavaScript mode, where you can enter any JavaScript expression. So let's learn a little bit more about this by making a tagged template literal. So I'm going to copy over something here, and we're going to write a translate tagging function. Actually, you know what? Before we get into that, let's just stick with what we have here, and then we'll get into that. So I'm going to make a function called tag, tag, and this is going to take some args, right? Who knows what those things are? Let's find out. I'm going to return those args, and then we're going to use this tag with just putting the function name in front of the template literal. So this might be familiar to you if you've used styled what? div. There we go. That was weird. I just kept typing and it was like, oh, I want to autocomplete for you. Anyway, this is a tag. If you're using styled components, that's exactly what you're doing. It's just using a tag, and then you can put your CSS stuff here, whatever your CSS is. So let's see what this args is doing here. So the styled components tag is returning a component that you can render. Here, what we're returning is an array. And that array looks kind of interesting. So it's an array of arrays. We have the first argument. So remember, this is args. That is going to be the strings. Okay. So the literal string or literal strings. Okay. So far, that's exactly what we had before. And then the rest of the arguments are the interpolations. So here we can say interpolation here. Okay, cool. So now we can, if we wanted this tag to actually not do anything at all and just operate exactly the same as like the normal operation of a template literal would be, then we could, let's see, probably the best way to do this is reduce, return, interpolations, dot reduce maybe? Reduce. Yeah, here, let's see what happens if I do this. Yeah, okay, so the you're always going to get a literal string of an empty string at the very beginning. So it'd probably be better to do the literal strings dot reduce. Reduce. Okay. And let's see, we'll take our full string and our literal and our index, and we'll initialize this to an empty string, and then we're going to return the value here. So oh yeah, and then we need to return the full string. Okay, cool. So now we're returning an empty string. So we need to take that full string, and we'll actually template literal this thing to concatenate the literal. Okay, but then we're going to also have an interpolation that will come after the literal. So we'll say interpolations at that index. And it looks like we're getting undefined because the we'll always have a one more literal string in the array than we have interpolations. So maybe we can make this a little bit smarter. Interpolation equals, or we can just empty string that. Okay, maybe it could be a little bit smarter, but there we go. So now this is, oh, whoops. Now we're doing exactly what a regular, and I'm just gonna get rid of that because it's annoying. What a regular interpolation would do. Like without the, really confused why this is going on. It looks like it's not going on a new line here. There. Yeah, okay. Weird. Anyway, so cool. Now let's make this a little bit more useful because we're not actually doing anything different than if we didn't have the tag there at all. So that's where I'm going to bring in a sort of contrived but sort of also useful example of a tag template literal, and that is this translate function. So I'm going to make a function called translate. I'm going to take our literal strings and our interpolations, and what we're going to do is here we'll have this list of translations down here below. So presumably you'll have like a JSON file with all the translations, with all the languages and stuff, and it'll, yeah, you don't have to worry about that implementation specifically. Just we have a mechanism for getting strings for a language. And the way that we're using this is we're saying, hey, our language is English, here's our data, and here is our HTML that we want translated. And so we're going to put an interpolation anywhere we want to have a translated string. And we're just gonna, as the interpolation, put the key. It'll be T dot and then the key. So that's kind of neat. Let's go ahead and make this a reality. Excuse me, a reality. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get the translations for our language. Translations equals get translations for our language. And then I'm going to, let's see, we'll get the translated string, and we're going to reduce the literal string into that translated string. So we're going to say return literal string dot reduce, and this is going to be the full string, and then our string, I guess the literal string, and the index, and then we're going to initialize that to an empty string, and we want it to be the same as if we weren't doing anything, because some of these interpolations are totally like not doing anything. So we're going to return here, we'll get the interpolation is interpolation at an index, and so we'll say if the interpolation, or here we'll just start it out with doing nothing, and then we can add the feature. So we'll just have it be what just happened. Okay, things want to update. I feel like apps should not be allowed to update when I'm live streaming. I don't know. Maybe that would be a useful feature. So we're gonna have our full string concatenated with the literal string concatenated with the interpolation, and there we go, literal strings. Okay, cool. Keep on doing that. Hitting command save by default. Okay, so now we have T hello, Kent C. Dodds. T, your birthday is Tuesday, October 1988. So now I want to do something special with certain interpolations. So I'm going to say if interpolation starts with T dot, then I know it's a translation. So I'm going to change interpolation to a let. I'm going to reassign it to translations at interpolation slice 2. Starts with. Well, by golly, what is it? Oh, right, it's that date. So here we're gonna bring this string. That's what it's gonna be doing. There we go. Cool. So if it starts with T dot, then we're going to say the interpolation is the translations at the rest of the interpolation length. So we're slicing off the first 2 characters and taking the rest of that as the path to the translation. So I can change this to DE, and now it's in German. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So tag template literals, like you can return anything. I've seen situations where people will do something like get, and then you know, path to resource, and return a promise. And I've also seen, or you'd have a post, and then like I don't know how they do the data, maybe data, I don't know. But I feel like I've seen a package that does that. You can return anything, React component, another string. That's what we're doing here. You can do all kinds of interesting things. And the way that it works is you have a function that accepts an array of the literal strings, and then the rest of the arguments is going to be the interpolations. And from there, it's just kind of handy dandy. So hopefully that's helpful to you. I'll put this in a gist and link that in the description of the video. And yeah, I hope you're all doing awesome, and we'll see you all later. Bye.